Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, dear soul, to Islamic Aura. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, activate the notification bell so that no spiritual reminder escapes your heart, and like this video. Your support spreads light, guidance, and barakah to countless souls seeking closeness to Allah. Every click is a ripple of mercy, a spark of hope, a gentle nudge toward the divine. Have you ever felt utterly abandoned? When the people you trusted most fail to stand by you? When your pleas for help seem to vanish into silence? The world feels heavy. In those moments, the heart grows restless, the soul feels fragile, and the mind whispers doubts. But dear believer, Allah never forsakes. There exists a du'a, a plea so profound, so encompassing, that even when the entire world turns away, it carries your voice straight to the divine. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "There is nothing more worthy of being called upon in times of distress than the du'a of the oppressed, for it is raised directly to the skies, and Allah responds to it." Tirmidhi. Pause for a moment, reflect on that. When everyone lets you down, when doors close and hearts grow cold, your du'a remains unbroken. It is the whisper of your soul, the bridge between you and Allah. The Quran reminds us, "Call upon me, I will respond to you." Surah Ghafir 40:60. Notice the promise, not sometimes, not if convenient, but a direct response from Allah. The challenge is often our faith, believing that our small voice, trembling with pain, reaches the ears of the most merciful. Yet even a single heartfelt utterance can turn the tide of despair. Imagine a moment, quiet and still, where you raise your hands, your heart bare, your tears unnoticed by the world but seen by Allah. That dua is not a magic spell. It is an intimate conversation, a sacred trust between you and your Creator. When every human connection fails, it is in this dua that your spirit finds refuge. In the next section, we will uncover the exact words of this dua, why it never fails, and how it has transformed the lives of those who were once abandoned, showing that even in solitude, the presence of Allah is enough. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, taught us a profound supplication. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-huzni, wal-ajzi wal-kasali, wal-bukhli wal-jubni, wa ghalabati ad-dayni wa qahri ar-rijal. O Allah, I seek refuge in you from anxiety and sorrow, weakness and laziness, miserliness and cowardice, and the burden of debts and the oppression of men. Pause and let these words sink into your heart. This dua does not just call for relief, it opens the door to spiritual resilience. It is a shield that strengthens the soul against despair, a balm for wounds invisible to the eyes. Every phrase is an invitation to surrender fully to Allah's mercy, acknowledging that only He holds ultimate control over life's trials. Consider the story of Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, who faced immense pressure, betrayal, and fear in the early days of Islam. He turned to Allah with such fervent supplication that his soul found strength beyond human comprehension. When the people let him down, it was his dua, his reliance on Allah, that became his unwavering support. Reflect on this. In moments of abandonment, our cries, however silent, are never ignored. The Quran reminds us, "And when my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me." Surah Al-Baqarah 2186. Let this truth seep into your consciousness. Even when every door seems closed, even when friends and loved ones fail, your voice reaches Allah without delay. The beauty of this dua lies in its universality. It addresses the heart's deepest pains, its heaviest burdens, and the trials no one sees but Allah. In the next section, we will explore the transformative power of repeating this dua daily, how it reshapes despair into hope, and how hearts once broken by abandonment can discover serenity and unwavering trust in Allah. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The one who persists in asking from Allah, Allah will give him, even if it is delayed." Tirmidhi. Notice the gentle promise. Persistence in dua is not a burden. It is a meditation, a rhythm that aligns your soul with divine mercy. Each repetition strengthens the heart, reminding it that no human support is required when Allah Himself is near. In times of betrayal or disappointment, this dua becomes the heartbeat of your trust, the pulse of hope that no adversity can extinguish. Imagine a soul weighed down by grief, repeatedly whispering, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-huzni. With every utterance, the heaviness lightens. Anxiety loosens its grip. A subtle warmth begins in the chest, the soul sensing the nearness of the most merciful. Even if the world ignores your cries, Allah listens. Even if friends fail to answer, Allah responds. Consider the story of a believer in Medina, whose family and friends abandoned him during a crisis. He turned to this dua daily, morning and evening, until he began noticing a transformation, not in his circumstances immediately, but in his heart. Patience replaced despair, gratitude replaced complaint, and trust replaced fear. Over time, doors began opening in ways he had not imagined, because his heart was aligned with Allah's wisdom and mercy. Reflect. When life feels unbearable, when human hearts fail, your dua is a vessel of hope. The Quran reminds us, and rely upon Allah, and sufficient is Allah as Disposer of Affairs. Surah Al-Ahzab 33:3. Here lies the essence. The world may let you down, but the divine never does. The repetition of this dua becomes a spiritual anchor, holding you steady amidst the storms of life, reminding you that Allah's plan is perfect, even when human support falters. In the next section, we will explore how to invoke this dua in moments of acute loneliness, turning emotional pain into a profound spiritual awakening and connection with Allah. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The supplication of a servant in distress is most beloved to Allah, and He responds to it more quickly than the blink of an eye." In Ibn Majah. Pause and let this truth resonate. When despair threatens to consume you, know that your voice, your plea, your cry, your silent tears is directly in the ear of the most merciful. The world may abandon you, but Allah's attention is unwavering. Envision a night of solitude when grief feels endless. Raising your hands in earnest supplication, you recite, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-huzni. Each word becomes a lifeline. Each breath, a quiet surrender to the one who controls all affairs. The heart begins to soften, the chest eases, and an inner calm unfolds. Even the heaviest burdens, though not immediately lifted, feel lighter in the presence of divine remembrance. Consider the story of a young woman in Makkah whose closest friends betrayed her. Alone, she turned to this dua daily, morning and night. Over time, she discovered an extraordinary truth. When people fail, Allah becomes sufficient. Her trust deepened, her resilience strengthened, and she began to see blessings hidden within her trials. The dua had not only comforted her heart, it had transformed it. The Quran reminds us, "Indeed, my Lord is near and responds to the call of the supplicant when he calls upon him." Surah Al-Baqarah 2186. In these quiet moments of invocation, your soul finds clarity. You realize that abandonment is temporary, but Allah's mercy is eternal. The pain of betrayal becomes a reminder, a spiritual lesson, that the heart's true companion is the divine. In the next section, we will explore how integrating this dua into daily life, even in ordinary moments, creates an unshakable connection with Allah, so that no matter the trials or people who fail you, your heart remains steadfast in faith and tranquility. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The most beloved actions to Allah are those which are consistent, even if small." Sahih Bukhari. This principle is profound. It is not the grandeur of our supplications, but the consistency of our hearts turning to Allah that nurtures spiritual strength. By making this dua a daily practice, morning and evening, in solitude or after prayer, you train your heart to trust Allah above all else, even when human support falters. Imagine starting your day with, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-huzni. Even before the world has spoken, before challenges arrive, your heart is anchored in divine assurance. Throughout the day, moments of worry or disappointment arise, yet each whisper of this dua reminds you that no circumstance is beyond Allah's control, and no betrayal can sever your connection with Him. Reflect on the story of Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, who faced immense trials in the early days of Islam. Though the companions sometimes faltered, Abu Bakr's heart was steadfast, continually seeking refuge in Allah. His reliance on supplication, repeated with consistency, became his shield, illuminating the path forward even in the darkest moments. The Quran reminds us, those who have believed and whose hearts are assured by the remembrance of Allah. Unquestionably, by the remembrance of Allah, hearts are assured. Surah Ar-Ra'd 13:28. This is the beauty of integrating the dua into daily life. It transforms anxiety into assurance, fear into faith, and solitude into a sacred companionship with Allah. The heart becomes less dependent on fleeting human presence and more nourished by the eternal mercy and guidance of the most compassionate. In the next section, we will explore the emotional and spiritual impact of this dua during trials that seem insurmountable, revealing how it empowers the believer to rise above despair and find peace, even in the midst of turmoil. Dear believer, let us now venture into the heart of trials, those moments when the weight of life feels unbearable, when every step forward seems impossible, and when the world's support has vanished entirely. It is precisely in these moments that this dua becomes a fortress for the soul, offering both solace and strength. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "No fatigue, no disease, no sorrow, no sadness, no hurt, no distress befalls a Muslim, even if it were the prick he receives from a thorn, but that Allah expiates some of his sins because of it." Sahih Bukhari. Pause and reflect on this truth. Every hardship carries a hidden mercy. Even when betrayal stings and abandonment pierces the heart, these trials are opportunities for purification and closeness to Allah. The dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hami wal-husni, acts as a conduit for that mercy, channeling hope and resilience directly into your soul. Imagine a moment of profound despair. Perhaps friends have left, family has turned indifferent, and circumstances seem insurmountable. In that stillness, raising your hands and invoking this dua, you begin to sense a subtle shift. A heaviness lifts, a whisper of calm enters your heart, and you realize you are never truly alone. Allah is nearer than your jugular vein, listening intently to your plea. Consider the story of a companion of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who faced immense personal loss. Surrounded by hardship, he consistently turned to Allah in supplication. Each repetition of heartfelt dua became a lifeline, transforming grief into patience, fear into trust, and isolation into a profound connection with the divine. The Quran reminds us, "And seek help through patience and prayer, and indeed, it is difficult except for the humbly submissive to Allah." Surah Al-Baqarah 245. This is the essence of true reliance. In the absence of worldly support, in the midst of trials, your dua becomes both shield and sustenance. It empowers the believer to endure, to rise above despair, and to feel the presence of Allah enveloping the heart with mercy and peace. In the next section, we will explore the profound emotional transformation that occurs when the heart fully surrenders through this dua, allowing grief and anxiety to be replaced by hope, trust, and an intimate closeness to Allah. Beloved soul, let us now journey into the quiet transformation that occurs when the heart surrenders fully to Allah through this dua. When repeated with sincerity, it does more than lift burdens. It reshapes the very way the soul perceives trials, abandonment, and the fleeting nature of human support. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Indeed, Allah does not look at your bodies or your appearances, but He looks at your hearts and your deeds." Sahih Muslim. Reflect on this. It is the sincerity of your heart, the earnestness of your plea that touches the divine. Even when the world overlooks your suffering, Allah notices every tear, every whispered cry, every trembling supplication. The act of turning to Him repeatedly with this dua transforms the heart into a sanctuary of peace, resilience, and unwavering trust. Consider a believer who, after being repeatedly let down by those closest to him, committed to reciting, "Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-huzni," day and night. Over weeks, he noticed an inner shift. The ache of betrayal softened, the heaviness of solitude lightened, and a quiet joy emerged from knowing that his heart was anchored in Allah's mercy. Pain did not vanish overnight, but it became bearable, illuminated by divine remembrance and assurance. The Quran beautifully reminds us, those who have believed and whose hearts are assured by the remembrance of Allah. Unquestionably, by the remembrance of Allah, hearts are assured. Surah Ar-Ra'd 13:28. Through consistent invocation of this dua, the believer's perspective changes. Abandonment is no longer a source of despair, but a reminder that human support is fleeting, while divine support is eternal. The heart becomes attuned to Allah's mercy, seeing trials not as punishments, but as opportunities for purification, patience, and closeness to Him. Dear soul, this transformation is subtle yet profound. It is a gentle awakening. The sorrow that once consumed you now calls you back to prayer. The loneliness that once crushed you now draws you into the divine presence. With every heartfelt utterance, your soul learns that true refuge is not found in people, but in Allah alone. In the next section, we will explore how this dua, when combined with sincere trust and patience, can manifest real change in your life, bringing solutions, guidance, and the gentle unfolding of blessings even when you feel utterly alone. Dear soul, let us now reflect on the profound reality. This dua is not only a source of solace, but also a channel through which Allah's guidance, blessings, and solutions flow into your life. When recited with sincerity and accompanied by trust and patience, it becomes a force that reshapes your reality, even when human support is absent. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever seeks relief through supplication, Allah will replace their distress with ease and open for them paths they could never imagine." Ahmad. Consider this. The trials you face, the disappointments, the betrayals, are all reminders to turn inward, to seek the divine. The repeated recitation of Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal huzni acts like a key, unlocking doors of guidance and mercy. It is a call that penetrates the heavens, and Allah responds in ways beyond human comprehension. Reflect on the story of a believer whose business collapsed, friends withdrew, and family distanced themselves. Alone and burdened, he turned to this dua with persistence and sincerity. Days turned into weeks, and slowly doors began to open. New opportunities appeared, relationships healed, and a sense of purpose returned. His reliance on Allah had shifted his reality, not immediately by human intervention, but through divine facilitation. The Quran reminds us, "And when my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me." Surah Al-Baqarah 2186. Notice the promise. Allah responds even if His wisdom delays the answer, even if human hearts fail to act. Your consistent turning to Him with hope and patience aligns your life with His mercy. The obstacles that once seemed insurmountable soften, and your path becomes illuminated. Dear believer, this is the heart of spiritual trust. Realizing that the dua is not merely words, but a bridge between despair and divine intervention. Even when the world turns cold, when friends abandon, and when life feels lonely, this dua ensures that you are never truly without support. Allah is near, guiding, protecting, and unfolding blessings in ways your heart could scarcely imagine. In the final section, we will reflect on the ultimate spiritual and emotional awakening that occurs when this dua is embraced fully, a transformation of the heart, the soul, and life itself, revealing that even in abandonment, you are enveloped by Allah's love and mercy. Beloved soul, we arrive at the heart of this journey, the ultimate, that comes from fully embracing this dua. When repeated with sincerity, trust, and patience, it does more than comfort the heart. It transforms the very essence of your being, connecting you to Allah in a way that no human support ever could. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said the dua of a believer is answered so long as he does not ask for something sinful or for severing family ties. Sunan Abu Dawud. Pause and let this sink in. Your heart's cries, even when unanswered by the world, are never wasted. Each utterance of Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal huzni is a sacred conversation, a silent testament of reliance, love, and trust in Allah. In the quiet surrender of the soul, despair gives way to serenity, fear is replaced by trust, and abandonment is transformed into intimate closeness with the most merciful. Consider the story of a devoted servant who faced repeated betrayals and isolation. Through persistent recitation of this dua, his heart was transformed. What was once anxiety became patience. What was once sorrow became gratitude. And what was once loneliness became companionship with Allah. His life, though still touched by trials, became illuminated by divine guidance, peace, and mercy. The Quran beautifully reminds us, indeed, those who have said, "Our Lord is Allah," and then remain steadfast, the angels will descend upon them, saying, "Do not fear and do not grieve, but receive good tidings of paradise which you were promised." Surah Fusilat 41:30. Beloved soul, the ultimate lesson is clear. Even when everyone lets you down, this dua will never fail. It is your refuge, your shield, your channel to divine mercy, and the key to inner peace. Through it, the heart learns that true support is not dependent on human hands, but rests in the embrace of Allah alone. Carry this truth with you. Whenever despair whispers, whenever solitude presses in, raise your hands, speak your heart, and trust that Allah hears you. Your dua is powerful, your reliance is rewarded, and your soul is never truly abandoned. May Allah grant you steadfast hearts, unshakable trust, and the serenity that comes from turning to Him in every moment. Thank you for watching, dear soul. If you haven't already, subscribe to Islamic Aura, like this video, turn on the notification bell, and share this reminder with your loved ones. Let this light reach those who need it most. May Allah bless you and envelop you in His mercy. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.